welcome back. I'm Angela Braniff, and today I'm sharing with y'all how we sold our house in one day. Okay, so you guys know we have been busting our booties to get our house ready to go on the market. We decided we wanted to move, take our family from the suburbs, and we wanted to move to like a little mini farm, homestead kind of vibe. And the process just, the dish ran away with the spoon. I don't know what to say other than everything just started happening much faster than I ever anticipated. It's sort of like once we made the decision to do it, it was like everything just kind of started falling into place. So what I want to talk about in today's video, now this is the last video in our Sell This House series. So I've done 5 previous videos where I've shared with you guys the projects that we did. I showed you the before of the house. I showed you the indoor projects that we did, the outdoor projects that we did, and then I showed you guys the final staged home tour. So today I want to share with you guys sort of the 5 things that I feel if I was ever going to sell another house, if I had to put this house back on the market, the 5 things that I think helped our house to sell very quickly. And then at the end, I'm going to share with you guys a few just little product-y things, some little things that I picked up at the store that I don't know that things would have gone as smoothly without. That sounds dramatic, but we'll get to it at the end, just some product things. And of course, we're going to be sharing with you guys as we move and the plans for the new place and all of that to come. But this is just the last video in the Sell This House series because we have sold that house. So let's get into it. All right, the first thing is I feel like us going around and making a list of everything in the house that needed to be done and addressed was very, very beneficial. Having that master list to work from and setting a budget for those projects and for everything overall. There's a lot of little things when you're getting your house ready to sell, and I'll talk about some of those, but in terms of like the products and things I'm going to talk about later, just making sure that you have a budget set aside for things that you're going to need to repair. If you want to pay an inspector to come out, we had an inspector come out and do just sort of a meats and bones kind of inspection, like go under the house, check the crawl space. There was a couple of things that we needed to fix. So I'm glad that we had that little pre-inspection. It wasn't a full and robust inspection. It was just sort of to check to make sure that everything was okay in the attic and in the crawl space and sort of some of those major items. So yeah, make sure that you figure out a budget that works for you, and then that will also help you to stay on track when you are starting to feel like, well, maybe I should buy a new couch to stage this room with. Maybe I should replace that sink. Maybe I should replace that. Just try to stick within a budget that's reasonable. And of course, you can always have a realtor or your realtor come and go through the house with you and go through the list that you've made and tell you, yes, do that, no, don't do that. And that's very helpful too. We also did that. We had our realtor about halfway through the process come over and look at everything and make sure that she felt like, number one, we weren't going crazy, and number two, that we were doing everything that needed to be done. And so that was very sort of affirming to have her come out and say, yep, you guys are doing a great job. No, you don't need to take that piece of furniture out. No, you don't need to restage that room. Yes, you need to move that. It was just very helpful instead of waiting for buyers to come through and leave you feedback and then trying to be reactive, sort of just being proactive as best as you can. Number 2 is, it kind of goes with number 1, but paint your trim. Okay, listen, I've looked at a lot of properties, and one of the things that I've noticed is dingy trim paint. If you've got like little fingerprints on there, little grubby grubs from kids, you know, I mean, listen, children do a lot of this and a lot of that, a lot of just touching things and wiping things. Handprints. I mean, we have 8 children, so there are handprints everywhere. So going through, and at first I thought I'll just take a magic eraser, and then I was like, but now that that's clean, I'm seeing dirt here and dirt here, and it ended up just, let me just paint the trim. Okay, let me just paint the trim. And again, I'm going to talk about some product-y tools, things at the end that were very helpful for that. But we ended up basically repainting all the trim in our entire house. Now, caveat, if your trim is wood, just clean it. Ours is painted white. It's wood, but it's painted white. So bright white trim, if that's what you currently have. I don't necessarily think that you should repaint trim unless your realtor tells you if it's like like not white, not something that's easy and quick to do. So we went and bought the like trim paint, and it's not enamel, but it's like a it's meant for doors and interior doors and trim. And so it's got like a nice wipeability to it. And I just felt like it made every room look a lot fresher and newer. And I always said, like every time I've talked about the house and I've referred to our house as an older house, some of y'all like laugh your little booties off in the comments because you live in places where homes are hundreds of years old. And the thing I just wanted to like add about that, because I can't respond to every single comment, and I wanted it to be someplace here. Our house was built in the 80s, the 1980s. And while that is not old in the grand scheme of things, our new house is like way, 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 way older than that. And I am fully aware of that. Those are considered historic homes in the United States when you're getting into like the early 1900s and stuff. But the thing is, and this, you know, you can decide for yourself, right or wrong, in the United States, they are popping up new homes every single day. There are new subdivisions going up, and buying a new build home is very, very common here. A lot of people do that, and a lot of people have that expectation just because we have so many of these subdivisions going up. So to an average buyer here in the United States, our home is old. Our home is older. It's not going to have an open concept. It's not going to have a giant island in the kitchen. It's not going to have a lot of the things that new builds have. So for us, it was a matter of trying to bring our home as feeling as new as possible. We've replaced flooring and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm not saying I think our home is old. I'm saying that a buyer is going to look at our home and think that it's older compared to what else is on the market here and what buyers are used to seeing in terms of new builds, because they are just everywhere here. Now that you've got your house all looking spiffy, you've given it a little spit shine, you're probably exhausted, you're probably completely wiped out and tired, but you've got to make decisions about pricing and all of that. This was just what we found. Again, this is my advice for selling your house quickly. It's not my advice for selling your house for any other reason other than trying to get it sold quickly, is to price it right. A lot of times people will overprice their home for that sort of negotiation window, right? They overprice it so they know that they can come down. We chose not to do that. We chose to price our house at what it was worth, what we wanted for it, so that there wasn't a bunch of negotiations. We didn't overprice it by $20,000 to see if someone would give that to us, or to see if they wanted to negotiate it down and all that. I didn't want to play those games. I didn't want to play the back and forth games. I just wanted to say, here's our house, here's what it's worth, here's what we want for it. Buy it or don't. And that's kind of what we did. And that's basically exactly what happened. Price your house right for your house, what you and your realtor together, what you're comfortable with and your realtor feels you can very reasonably get for your home, if you are really wanting to sell it quickly. If you've got time to spare, then yeah, sure, you know, jack that price up a little bit and see if you can get a little bit more for it. But if you're really wanting to sell it quickly, pricing it right, I think, was something that I'm really glad that we did. Now the next thing, you've got the house priced right, you've got the pictures done, you've got it all ready to go. Leave, go away, bye-bye, vamoosh, disappear. A lot of you guys gave us this advice, and we'd already kind of been thinking about it, but as y'all were leaving comments when we were doing the first few parts of this video series, a lot of you guys recommended that we leave. You said, put the house on the market, leave for the weekend, leave for a week, go on vacation, and let your realtor show it and hope that you get offers and it sells. And for us, with 8 children and pets, we just felt like there is no way that we can get this house in and out of show-ready condition constantly. And so that's what we did. We listed it. We were hoping to list it on a Thursday because I had read online, Google, the all-knowing Google, told me that homes listed on Thursday on average sell faster and for more. I'm guessing the logic behind that is that when you list your house on a Thursday, that's around the time people are starting to look for what they want to try to go see this coming weekend. And so as things played out, I realized that very much makes sense. People on Thursday are starting to book, when those houses come on the market, they're starting to book their showings for Saturday. Unfortunately, because of timing with the realtor and photographer and all of that kind of stuff, we weren't able to list our home on Thursday, but it went on the market Friday. Basically what happened was we decided, okay, Friday morning we're gonna pick up and leave, and we were gonna text our realtor when we left and she was gonna put it live. So I gave her a rough estimate of the time I thought we were gonna be out, and CR got all the kids ready, loaded all the kids up in the car, the pets. I had the cat in my car, but he had all the kids and the dogs, and they left and headed for my parents. And then I stayed behind to do the final cleaning. So I stayed behind and just scrubbed and cleaned and vacuumed and did every last little thing that I could think of to get the house ready. And I was up on the 3rd floor of the house cleaning our daughter's room when the realtor called, and she was like, okay, I'm setting it live. Are you good? And I was like, well, almost. And she was like, get out. I was like, I'm trying. It was just funny. So pretty much as soon as she set it live, we immediately got a showing booked. So they have all these newfangled like apps and stuff that schedule all your showings, and you just confirm them or reject them. It's quite simple to use. So immediately we started getting showings getting booked for that day, for Friday. And so I was like, I gotta get out of here. So I busted my tail to get everything done and left the house, and we went to my parents, and we told our realtor we'll be gone for a week. We'll stay gone for a week if that's what we need, hoping that it would sell, or at least we'd get offers over the weekend and we could come home early in the week, the next week. But we woke up Saturday morning, and some people who saw the house on Friday had made an offer Saturday morning. So, and it was a great offer, and it made sense. And we weren't wanting to like hold out and try to do some kind of negotiation war with somebody or anything. We didn't want to do that. We wanted the right people in the house, and they included a letter with their offer. And I really liked them. I really felt, you guys know, I have this sentimental attachment to this home. It's where all but 2 of my children have come home to us, and I really just wanted this to be another place for a family to grow and a family to flourish, and that's what I felt like this family was going to be able to do in this house. I'm going to get emotional, so I'm not going to talk about that a whole lot more, but I'm just really excited for them to continue to grow their family in this house and their future and all of that. So I was really thrilled and pleased with the people that were going to buy the house, and so we said yes and got to come home on Monday. So that was very, very exciting, and so glad that that didn't end up getting drawn out for a crazy long time. I will say, so the 5th thing that I was gonna add there is to take the showing feedback with a grain of salt. And what I mean by that is not to ignore it, but at least the way it works here is with this app that they use to schedule your showings, they also, the realtors give feedback after their clients leave. And so that part of it I didn't know, and I also I didn't love. Nobody likes to, like, some strangers are in your house and they're judging it. They're telling you the things that they like and the things that they don't like. And sometimes people are really nice, and sometimes people are just kind of snarky about things. And so, I don't know, I told our realtor, I was like, I'm so glad the house sold quickly, because I'm not sure how much more of that I could take. People giving their little 2 cents on every little thing in your house, where you're like, listen, that's not staying. So if you don't like it, that's fine. It's not staying. Like, what do you do? It's the house, you ding dong. So anyways, the showing feedback, take it with a grain of salt, because you're always going to have people who want more. They get a little bit cranky about homes within their budget. Sometimes there's jerks, right? There's nice people, there's jerky people, and they are the same kind of people who come to showings in houses. So if you start to see a pattern of comments being repeated, like that there's one major thing that everybody's just saying in the showing feedback that they don't like, not gonna work, then yes, you might need to listen and address that feedback. But particularly if it's just kind of complaints, especially if it's about things you can't change, like the size of your kitchen or the layout or something like that, things you really can't change, you just have to let that roll off your back, you know? So those are sort of my 5 tips and 5 pieces of advice, 5 things I learned sort of about selling your home quickly. If we had to put ours back on the market, or if we had to do this again, these are the kind of things that I would focus on and prioritize in order to get my house to sell quickly. Now, let's discuss some product things very quickly. There's just a few things that I felt like, man, I love you and I'm really glad that I had you in my life during this process. You were a pillar of hope and strength for me. You tiny little box of napkins. Okay, but in all seriousness, one of the things that I think that we did that was very beneficial for us, it may or may not be for you, but for us it was very beneficial, and that was renting a U-Haul the day that we were getting everything out for the staging purposes of the house. I talked about this in a previous video, but we had gone through the house, marked all the furniture that we were gonna take out for the purpose of staging. A lot of times you're gonna take furniture out, especially if you have too much furniture in your house and that sort of thing. And stuff we were going to take to storage. So a lot of people were asking, what'd you do with the stuff? We have a storage unit. So even if you just rent a storage unit for a month or look into renting a pod, something like that, U-Haul was, I want to say it was like $20, and then with taxes and all the fees, it was like 40 bucks. So, or maybe if you have a great truck and a trailer or something, you can use that, but we didn't have that. So we rented a U-Haul, and it was so nice to be able to take one trip to fill the whole thing with stuff to go to the storage unit, and then just make one singular trip to the storage unit. That made things so much better rather than doing it one room at a time, sort of coming up with a game plan and then spending one day removing everything that needs to be removed and taking it off-site storage. I felt like that was a really beneficial thing that we had budgeted and spent money on, and I'm glad that we did. The next thing is going to sound kind of silly, but if you have babies, if you have little kids, you probably already have baby wipes around. If you don't, get some. I bought, and I shared in one of my videos, these Goo Gone wipes to help clean up where you might mess up with paint. Now, depending on how much paint you're doing, if you're painting trim, or if you're just deliriously tired, you might inadvertently paint over something you're not supposed to, or swipe something you're not supposed to, especially when we were repainting doors and I was really tired, and then you get the paint on the hardware and then you're like, ah! Having baby wipes around, I liked the Goo Gone wipes, but baby wipes work pretty much just as well. So baby wipes, Goo Gone wipes, something of the like, to be able to clean up your paint messes. That especially makes, when you're going around painting the trim, I bought one of those long, flat, can't think of the name of it right now. It's like an edger. I think that's what it's meant for, but it's just a long piece of thin metal, and you can kind of hold that against the edge and use that so that you're not having to tape everything off. Taping can be so time consuming. It can take a lot of the time that you need for painting trim, just going around taping. So I just used this tool so I could buzz around. I would also advise maybe getting a dolly, or if your kid has a skateboard, something that you could sit your butt on and slide around the bottom if you've got hardwood floors or not too plush of carpet. Something that you can use to kind of slide you around as you go and are painting the lower trim, especially if you're gonna do like the whole downstairs at once or something. But those sort of little things were very helpful to have. And then the last thing, which again, this is probably going to seem really strange and weird, I spotted these at Lowe's, and it's a box of, they call them like construction rags or something, but basically it is a box that looks like it's for baby wipes. You pull them out the top, but what comes out are these glorious, very thick, like napkin-y kind of things. Now listen, I didn't promise this part was environmentally friendly or gonna do anything great for the environment, but sometimes, okay, you guys have seen my cleaning videos and stuff. I usually use rags and I just wash them. I don't use a lot of napkins, paper towels, paper products when I'm cleaning the house. But for this, and as much stuff as you are going to be cleaning, especially if you're cleaning out places you haven't cleaned before, if you're cleaning stuff that's like dusty, dirty, and you don't have time to be doing a ton of laundry to go along with it. Again, our project was a big project that we smashed into a little amount of time, 5 days between the date we'd set to get the house on the market and the time that we had to finish the rest of these projects. We just had a date in mind, knowing the other house that we were buying and closings and all of that, a date that we wanted to get our house on the market to give it ample time to sell and close before our new house closing. So we only had 5 days, is my point. And so these napkins, okay, they were so handy and helpful. It was cheaper than just going and buying paper towels, a bunch of rolls of paper towels, and they worked better. They worked much, much better. They were thicker. They just worked for so many different things. I can't even tell you all the different projects that we used these on, but both my husband and I were like, how did we never know these things existed before? And we're so glad we have them for this project. Again, I wouldn't buy them all the time and use them all the time, but for the project of quickly getting your house on the market and having to do a bunch of home things very, very quickly, I was so glad to have them on hand, and we used every last single one of them. So those are just a few of the items or tools, that sort of thing, that we use to help us get our house ready to sell that I felt like were definitely worth the money and I would do over again 100 times. All right, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I just want to say a huge thank you for you guys following along this journey of us selling our house. It's been so fun. It's been so fun to have y'all come along on this process. I'm so grateful for your help and tips and advice along the way. We've used so much of that as we've gone through. And like I said, I think all of these things together and y'all's tips together have really helped us to make this process pretty seamless and sell our house in one day. I could not believe it. Like, it sold in less than 24 hours. So for that, we are so, so grateful. We are so excited to move to our new place. And I am going to be doing a video and sharing with you guys the sort of some packing tips and moving tips. So we'll talk about that when we get to packing and moving this house. And then at the new house, I'm going to do a new home tour. We're going to decorate that house, and you've got a whole bunch of stuff to do outside in terms of gardens and getting critters ready and all of that. So much fun stuff to come. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And that's it. I hope you all are having a fantastic day, and I will see y'all again very soon. Bye.